What's going on, everybody? So I actually want to do a video on this little plastic welding kit from Harbor Freight. It's garbage, but it works. So what it comes with is this little mesh sheeting. You can cut that as reinforcements. Just take some scissors or dikes and cut whatever section you off. I didn't need that, but had a buddy come over and he busted his radiator. We can't get a radiator for a week, so went down to Harbor Freight, grabbed the plastic welder, and really all I needed was these plastic welding rods. That's the whole reason why I bought the kit. I typically just use a soldering iron and the plastic. Now this piece I already used, and he was surprised that it was able to do it, so kind of got me thinking about it. And I just got done working on these center caps for the wheels on my truck. All of them had blown out. They're just plastic. They break when you tighten them too hard. So I welded some other plastic that I had. That's actually what these holes are from. It's plenty strong. You know, it'll do the job. My truck goes out on dirt roads and it's gonna get fucked up anyways. So I'm not too worried about it. But I wanted to show you what it's capable of. Being that he was pretty surprised about it, that it's even an option, I figured there's probably other people out there. Now, I've got this thing heated up, and it's nowhere near hot enough to melt. Oh, I guess it is getting there. It's getting warmed up. But I've probably got maybe an hour's time used on this, and it's already melting and falling apart. So it'll be useful for one job, maybe two. I've gotten 2 jobs out of it, but for $14.99 or whatever it is, can't really complain, especially if it's in the pinch. For him, getting his car back was a pretty big deal, and once we get the radiator, we'll throw that in. But the concept of it, it's all simple. It's nothing crazy. I just cut these off. Now this one, I've got a bevel on it to try and put more in, because I'm kind of curious if filling that all the way up with welding rod will make a difference, or if you can just weld over the top of it and call it good. So give this, well, let's see if it's hot enough. It's about as simple as using a soldering iron. You guys should be able to see the smoke that it puts off. Typically what I like to do is I take the 2 pieces and put them back to their as close as possible to normal, you know, before it broke, and just kind of see if I can kind of stitch weld this together just to hold it while I lay the rod in. Okay, so once that cools, give it a couple seconds, you can blow on it, make it cool down faster. I'm just gonna let it sit. So yeah, you just literally lay this on top, and I use the corner of the iron to kind of cut it, put a blob, and then just melt the blob in. And just like normal welding, you want to heat up the filler rod enough to melt into the original plastic or original material. And I don't think that's going to be nearly as strong. But if you're welding on something thin like a radiator in these wonderful new cars we have, it should be sufficient. So I'm putting a fair bit of pressure just straight down, trying to push that rod deep into the hole and get the melted plastic to melt into the unmelted. But yeah, as you guys can probably see all the smoke that's coming up with the camera, this is really something you want to do in a pretty open area. I don't think I would do this in my kitchen, that's for sure. But I'm out here in the shop. So let's see if we can get this one stitched together. So just kind of jab it in there and let it melt it. And that's one piece again. Now you can cut this plastic with a pair of scissors, but it's kind of difficult. And you really don't need a whole lot of plastic. This one's pretty exaggerated. Put another piece in there. Now you don't really want to overheat the plastic, but you want to get it pretty hot. It should move around kind of like peanut butter. So while I'm doing this, I'm trying to watch it to make sure that everything's kind of melting into each other. That way I don't have a cold spot, and I'm just stacking it. I want it to all become one. And I'm just kind of smoothing it out, make it look pretty. It's gonna be ugly. I've done this several times on numerous things, and I don't know how to make it look pretty, so I don't even try anymore. But yeah, you guys can see right there that screw has pulled out. This plastic's all melted. It flops around quite a lot, but I don't plan on using it for much longer. So I'm gonna let that one cool down. So this one is set. Obviously, it didn't get too deep in there. Probably only 1/16 of an inch, if that. Try and get that close so you guys can see. I don't know if you can see that or not, but I mean it's there. It would probably hold something. I don't know. Let's reheat that up. I'm gonna try and do the other side. See if we can get it strong enough to not break where I cut it. So let's throw some more in there. Plus we gotta let that cool down. I think that'll be plenty strong. It is just plastic, so whatever you're doing that's plastic probably doesn't need to be all that strong. I would definitely say cooling system is probably the hardest thing that I know that plastic's used for, and I don't know why it's used for it. I think it's pretty dumb. Yeah, so that's all plenty hot. I'm gonna flip it over and I don't want this thing sticking to my table. So just push that down. So what I did on the radiator, and I kind of wish I had that here to show you guys, but I just took the corner and kind of pushed down until it beveled to try and get full penetration. You can see I haven't even put any filler material in, and it's already kind of filling up. So we'll throw some in and see what we get. I will say the benefit to having this kit is this flat iron. It does look better than using a soldering iron, but if that's all you can get your hands on, a cheap $7 soldering iron and some of these plastic rods, you can weld plastic just fine. In fact, I've got a couple of Harbor Freight soldering irons that are specifically for me to jack up and do what I want them to. That's pretty solid. Alright, so this one, obviously we didn't get all the way through. I didn't try to, but let's see what we can do. Yeah, it still wants to break on the weld, but it's definitely one piece. I don't think I heated it all up to make it melt into one piece, so let's see if we can do that. I don't know, I'm just messing around in the shop at this point. Now, if you're going to be doing something that like actually needs to be good, there are better solder plastic welders, they're called. You can get the little gun from Harbor Freight. I've heard it works fine. I've never used it. I'm also not willing to spend $150 or whatever it is on something I do very, very little of. So I'm gonna let that cool down. And I'm probably not letting this cool down enough to really let it all harden up, because it does get quite hard. But this one, it's getting a decent bend in it before it breaks. I mean, obviously it's bending pretty good right there at the break, but that's the weak point. But yeah, I would say that's a pretty solid repair for a piece of cut up plastic. Now, in a real life one, you guys can see this right here. I have a crack. I don't know when it happened, but that is definitely one piece again. And these little spacers, really they're just to hold the bolts to put these on. I mean, I can push pretty hard. I mean, I'm not going to try and break this because I want to put these back on my truck. But I don't imagine these are going to fly off. And each one of these little caps for these motor metals, they're like 35 or 40 bucks. So I have 5 of them. I don't feel like spending the $160 or whatever it is to get them. So this will do fine for me. But hopefully this helps somebody, and you guys can have one more tool in your toolbox. Have a good day.